being in Thailand over being in America is there's a lot of clothing manufacturing in Thailand, as there is in India. So, you know, as an American, I saw this as a real opportunity that I would be able to produce where I was living and produce at an affordable cost. And so then I really sought to find the right seamstresses that I could work with, that we could essentially start this from the ground up. Because in those initial stages, and this was 2015, the end of 2015, it was just becoming popular to sell on Amazon. And you were starting to see blogs like The Amazing Seller, and you know, there were beginning to be resources online available for people who wanted to start their own Amazon brand. So, you know, even though I was starting my own clothing brand and I wasn't, you know, buying and reselling, buying from a factory and reselling, Amazon was still this really easy platform to launch your product and to see if people wanted it, to see if it had a viability. And so when I started on a really small scale. It took some time on the ground to find a seamstress that I could communicate with, that I could trust, to find a fabric vendor that we could get the right fabric from. So all these things took time, and I will say it was a hustle. But once everything came together and we made those first 20 pants, well, then it really was an online job. It was a matter of setting up the Amazon listing correctly, making sure that my product was something that was a better alternative to some other products. And so, you know, for my particular industry, what I offer is fair trade, which means ethically produced, fair trade labor where the seamstresses are paid a good wage, they receive medical health benefits, they have a better standard of living than most seamstresses do in the world today. And so that was important for me, and that's also an important part of my marketing message. So essentially, you know, what I'm offering that differentiated me from other Amazon sellers is this ethical brand, and is this ethical brand that is also affordable because it's coming direct to the customer. So that worked. And, you know, we sold the first 20 pants, and then we made 100 more, and then we sold that 100 and we made a few hundred more. And, you know, my approach to it actually was not to do a Kickstarter campaign or to do a big investment. It was really step by step by step. And, you know, as I'm sure your teacher has told you, there are many, many different ways you can start a company. But I guess for myself, I wanted it to be risk adverse. I didn't want to take on, you know, a lot of risk or debt. And so I chose to do it this way, and, you know, really happy with the way things worked out. Now we have an actual workshop facility in Chiang Mai. We have my Thai business partner, her name is Aw. She manages our seamstresses. We have about 10 full-time staff. And so that essentially is our production facility. And the business is primarily an Amazon business. However, it is our own brand. We still have, you know, full social media. We do have some website sales. We do have Etsy.com sales. Now we also sell in Thailand as well, where we produce. So, you know, I'm on the one hand, I'm grateful to Amazon that it's such an easy platform to get started and to test your product. But over time, you know, much more competition has come into Amazon. You know, the fees have increased. And so it is much more competitive now. And I would encourage you, if you're thinking of starting an Amazon business, to really find a unique product that's not easy to copy. Because what I've seen many of my other friends do and essentially fail on Amazon is to come out with a product, and they've done the research and they see that there's an opportunity, but they've had it manufactured in China or wherever they've had it manufactured. And what they've done was easy enough to replicate that the competition could come in and take over their market share. So, I think that's something to think about regardless of what you plan on selling, is to find something that's not easily copied, that's not easily replicated. Yeah. So I think I'll stop there, Raj, if you have any questions, or if the audience or class has any questions. Yeah.
Let me ask a few questions before I open it up to the class.
Sure.
So how did your business ramp year over year? And are you close to $1 million a year now, or something like that, revenue-wise?
Yeah, I think I'm 50,000 a month, maybe.
About $500,000 plus, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, it grew pretty consistently, 30 to 40% each month from the year before.
Okay.
So the growth was pretty consistent. Actually, the first year I didn't make any money, and the second year I broke even. Okay. And that is something that I wrote about in the blog post, because in that first year, obviously you have a lot of expenses. You're experimenting. Part of that expense was experimentation. I launched about 10 different products, and in the course of launching all 10 different products, discovered that pants were really the sweet spot for me and for our sales. I think because we were, unlike a lot of sellers on Amazon, we were offering 5 different sizes. And so that really appealed to shoppers, that it wasn't just one size fits all, that it was, actual Western sizes. So, we found that pants was really our bread and butter, and we still offer some other things. But having done that initial kind of research, if you will, testing a lot of different things, enabled us to really hone in on what was working best for us. And now I think we have like 4 or 5 really strong listings in that sort of space, if you will.
Okay. And so how did you build your brand on Amazon? I mean, you search for pants, there'll probably be 1 million sites that sell pants. I mean, so how would you make your product discoverable on a site like Amazon, which has got billions of
right
sites?
Right. Yeah, you have to be more specific than just pants. You have to be more specific than just tops. So my keyword is palazzo pants. And so, when women are searching for black pants, obviously you have a lot of searches and you have a lot of different variety available. But if a woman is searching for black palazzo pants, that reduces, right? So you need to actually find a slightly more narrow category within it that is still has a high search. I remember at the time, the kind of ideal number of search would be around 150,000 to 200,000 searches for that per month was kind of a sweet spot, because if it was more than that, then too many people were offering and too many people were searching. And if it was less than that, it wasn't significant enough. So, it really comes down, I think, to product research and finding.
Okay, so you actually did a Google, you did something on Google to find out what was searched by your target customer base.
Yeah.
And you decided that 100 to 150,000 searches per day or per month?
Per month
was somewhere where you wanted to find the right product fit.
Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty, very, very clever. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did what everyone did, even the drop shippers. I watched the videos on how to select the right product for Amazon. And I really even based the design of my clothes off what people are buying. So I took a bit of a non-fashion approach to fashion. I took more of a marketing approach to it. And yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you actually designed your product based on understanding what the customer was already looking for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Google or Amazon gives you that kind of information?
And well, there are a few tools that you can use. One extremely useful tool for Amazon is Jungle Scout,
Okay.
because Jungle Scout will let you look. So say you have an idea in mind, you go to Amazon and you find the most similar thing that's already on there to your idea.
Okay.
And then Jungle Scout will show you how many sales that particular seller is making every month. So if it's a pair of pants, for example, and I'm looking at 3 different vendors, one of them might be selling 1,000 a month, which is a good number. Another might only be selling 5 to 20 a month. And so I can see that my opportunity is where they're selling a lot, and can I compete with what they're doing? Essentially, can I offer something similar at a better price, or can I offer something similar at a better quality or value to the customer? So that is essentially the discovery phase.
Okay. And then how much validation did you do before you launched the product? I mean,
Yeah,
what kind of
yeah,
customers did you talk to? What feedback
yeah.
how did you collect the feedback? How did you go ahead and,
I still use my Facebook account and my
okay.
own friends quite a lot for that. It is handy, especially when I'm choosing prints. I have to choose, prints for these pants, and I want to choose something that women in America will be interested in. And it's kind of great because on Facebook, I have a lot of female friends in Missouri. I have a lot of female friends in California. Those are 2 pretty diverse bases. And so I would post a picture of 4 different prints and say, hey, which one do you like best? And literally pick the top top print, those 60 or 70 votes, because I do feel like it's really easy sometimes to get lost in what you like and not focus on what the majority is shopping for. And Amazon is very much a majority market, so I might like the color pink, for example, but I know that with my single colored palazzo pants, the top seller is always going to be white, blue, and gray. White, blue, and gray are the colors that women are buying the most, and also black, but my brand, we don't do black. So it's part of knowing your market, really. I used to choose a little bit fruity colors or a little bit more niche designs. And, I think when you have a brand that's already established, you can do that because it will sell on the validity of the brand. But when you're just trying to establish yourself as a seller and you want to make enough money to keep your company running, you really have to think, okay, what do the buyers want? And so I will say, though, as the business has grown, as we have established ourselves now, people recognize Tropic Bliss. They especially recognize it on Amazon. I get letters from customers that say, I love your pants so much, I bought more. Like, once you have that, you can start to be a little more creative. But I feel like at the beginning, I kind of had to let go a little bit of the creativity for the sake of stabilizing. And what I really found was, certain colors are going to be more popular. If you're doing printed things, a background color of black is more popular. It's slenderizing. So really, learning all these things about your niche, and offering something that a majority of customers want. Another thing that I notice your class is mostly boys, and so there's probably not a lot that are aching to get into women's fashion. But but one thing, for example, when you're selling online, the customer can't try it on, And so if you're selling a garment that's really fitted, that has that has a slender design, that's very risky online, because there's, in America and on Amazon, returns are very easy. So if you're selling something that really has a tailored fit, it's no good. What I'm selling primarily are these really wide leg palazzo pants that have an elastic waist. And so this makes it more viable, fewer returns, because it fits more people, because it fits more sizes. It's more forgiving.
So that
Yeah.
is a way to make your production something that does not generate returns, right? So that was a key
Yeah.
success factor for you, because if
Yeah.
you start getting returns, it becomes, you pretty much lose all your profit, right?
Yeah. And that's another thing I would do. Anytime I launch a product and the returns go above 30%, I cut the product. So,
Oh,
yeah, so 25 to 30% is average in clothing. You absolutely have to expect 25 to 30%. I've been able to keep it just under 25% for the most part. But if I launch a new product and after a few months I see the return rate is going over 30%, then I cut the product. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And the returns that you get, are they, they're not damaged so that you can resell them, or are they?
Most of them, I use Amazon FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon warehouses. A majority of them can be put back on the shelf and sold again. A downside is that when Amazon repackages it, they don't iron it and fold it nicely. They just wad it up and throw it in the bag. So that's a bit unfortunate when the second customer receives it. However, it is resellable. I think maybe about 1 in 10 returns is not resellable
Hmm.
and it has to be disposed of. I send those to my mother's address in Missouri, and she sells them on consignment or donates them, or different,
Hmm.
ways of secondhand clothes, if you will. Yeah.
Okay. Did you
Yeah.
need a partner in the US to do business, or could you do the whole thing from China?
Could I do the whole thing from
No,
where?
from wherever you are.
Yeah, I incorporated it in the U.S. first, because I'm from Missouri, so I incorporated it in Missouri using my parents' address. I was living in Thailand at the time. I chose not to have a business partner. A lot of people do choose to have a business partner. There's pros and cons to both. But what was most important for me was a Thai person that I could work with that could really be in charge of the seamstresses. And
Mhm.
I found that in a woman there. And she was looking for a salary. So, I paid her salary from the beginning.
Okay.
Um, Eventually, after we ran, actually in the last year, we incorporated the business in Thailand. Initially, I didn't have to incorporate it in Thailand because it was export only.
Hmm.
If you're just exporting into the US, then there's no reason to have a Thai business. But
Okay.
as we got bigger, that's when it became, as we got bigger and more people started to know about us, it was really important, not not just for the brand, but I mean, well, for the marketing message in general, because now, it's part of we're doing brand ambassador campaigns and social media, and we want it to be very visible that we're operating in Thailand, that we're doing it in an ethical way, and that is part of the brand. And also, I eventually want to sell the company, so having something tangible in Thailand that I can sell is also important.
Hmm.
So now there is a business in Thailand and in the US. Yeah.
Okay. Um, do you think it's better to be an entrepreneur or get a good, well-paying job at Facebook or Google in marketing?
I think everyone should do both in their lifetime. I really do. I worked in Silicon Valley for 7 years in various sales and marketing roles, and it was exciting, especially in my 20s, because there was this huge network and lots of people to meet. And I think in that phase in your life, you get excited about really just moving up, right? Every promotion, every new job is really exciting. And so I think people are driven by newness and new challenges. I think most people are driven by new challenges. So, I think early in my career, just having those jobs, working working for you, working for Thai, working for these various employers, I feel like that was necessary for me to reach a point where I could start my own business. I don't think I would have had the confidence to do it without that. But I will say, I'm 39, but this millennial generation, I'm fascinated because so many of them start businesses before they've even had a job, and it it blows my mind, and some of them succeed. So we are living in a different time now. It's really hard for me to say if one way is better than the other. I just know that from my own personal experience, working for other people and essentially being told, hey, you're really good at what you do and I believe in you, that really groomed me in a way to feel like I could start my own business.
Okay, but are there any, it almost appears that there are no skills that you got from a corporate job that you're using directly in this entrepreneurial image.
I really disagree with that, actually.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I really disagree with that. I think especially, the last job before I left San Francisco, I was working for an email marketing company, Vertical Response. And the woman who started the company, she was a woman, first of all. And, I hadn't worked for a female entrepreneur before that job. And just seeing the way that she ran her company, seeing the way that she ran it in both the, serious, down to business, but also fun, and observing everything that she did, being able to work directly with her, I feel like that was really inspiring for me. And now, because, when you have your own company, you become an HR manager at some point. You become an HR manager at some point. And to understand essentially, what is the word? Just the corporate social dynamics or the dynamics of the business. I observed that in other places. And so I kind of know what's happening in my own business, and I know what the women need and how I need to treat them, and how everything is delicate, I would say. And I think that's really a skill. And, I have a team of entirely women. And in addition to that, I'm an American with a team of primarily foreign women or Thai women. So you need a huge amount of cultural understanding. You need a lot of empathy. You really have to handle things very delicately. And there's just no way I had the emotional maturity to do that if I would have done it 10 years before, So I think I learned a significant amount on the job. Yeah.
So people management is
yeah.
Is a skill that,
Yeah.
you can learn in a corporate job. Obviously, there's lots and lots of people to work with, different departments,
Yeah.
different.
One of the things that I hear over and over, because, I do live in these communities, Lisbon and Chiang Mai, and there's a lot of startups. And a lot of these startups, they're run by 25-year-old men. And this is primarily why people are unhappy or they quit, because this young man hasn't developed the interpersonal skills that are required to be a good boss, to be a good communicator, even if they have the great ideas and the great, development. I think that being a good boss, a good CEO requires both the soft and the hard skills. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let me open it up to the class because I muted them, okay?
Sure, thanks.
I'm going to unmute them.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear Amanda properly? Okay, so Amanda is open to taking your questions because, as you can see, she started from scratch less than 4 years ago and now has good brand and a business that is continuing to grow, and it made her into an entrepreneur with a real company. So feel free to ask some questions.
Sir,
yeah, go ahead.
So like ma'am told that, like if the idea is unique, then it is less likely to be copied by someone other. Okay, so like, but if in future, like she wins any competition, then what should be the methodology to compete with them? Now she don't have any competitors, but in future.
Raj, I think you might have to repeat the question because it goes up quite a bit.
Okay. So let's do this. Can you guys come close to the microphone and sit in front of the microphone and talk so that we can see you. Amanda can see you as well as I can see you and hear you properly.
So if in future,
Kshitij, can you arrange the camera a little bit? I can't see the face very well. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
so if in
Can you
future,
straighten up the camera a little bit? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Great. Okay.
so if in future, if you face any competition, so now you don't have any competition, but if in future, if you face any competition, then what will be the methodology to compete with them?
Yeah,
Did you hear the question?
I did. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's something that, that's the biggest risk in a business is have you diversified enough that if, for example, I have 5 strong listings now. So it is very possible that a company could come in and compete with one of my listings. But that's why it's important to have more than one that is strong. That's also why it's important to sell in more than one market to have more than one revenue stream. Yeah.
Okay, but you do change your designs on an annual basis.
The designs.
So because you now have customers who are going to give you real feedback, right?
Yeah,
So
and you
that way
also
you have some advantage over somebody who's just going to copy last year's design.
exactly you get customer loyalty. Over time, you get customer loyalty, and to be honest, in the garment industry, there's not a big rush, sadly, for people to start companies that are fair trade. There's just not a big rush because it's fast fashion, it still drives the market, and people are trying to produce at a really low cost. It's easy to enter the market when you're producing at a low cost. And so what I'm doing, not only is it not easy to replicate, it's not easy. It's not to toot my own horn, but I've chosen to not work with a factory. So that instantly means better quality control, better quality assurance. Some of the fabric that I use, it's ordered from India, especially for like the designs are unique for my brand. There's a 2-month waiting time to get the fabric. Every pair of pants uses 6 meters of fabric. So, there's just not a lot of clothing lines out there. I mean, if anyone were to copy me, it would probably be Amazon. Because I do think that Amazon, essentially once brands do become so successful, they start to see, oh, we should be offering this as well. So that's always a risk, but I don't think you can get stuck in thinking about it. I think you just have to constantly be innovating. Have faith in your customer base. And I get a lot of encouraging emails from my customers saying, I really love what you're doing with the brand. I love that I can see the seamstress who made the clothes. And so I honestly, if everything in the world is energy, I just believe that if you feel positive about what you're doing and you kind of radiate that, then it's going to draw a lot of positivity to it. Wow, now I sound like a hippie, okay. But just really believe in what you're doing, and don't spend too much time worrying about how it's going to fail. Yeah.
Were there times when you felt like going in the towel on the business?
Yeah, there have been. I think no matter what job you do, when you do it for a long time, you do get a feeling of burnout. No.
This is in the beginning, when you
felt in the early days.
Yes.
In the early days, it was such a big challenge for myself that I didn't want to give up. I don't think I would have given up unless I would have really run out of money, because it was such a challenge that I wanted to achieve. Anytime that I would launch a product and it didn't do well, I had doubts, but then it also brought me closer to finding better products. So, and I kept a job. I should have mentioned, I kept a side job for the first 2 years, and I worked part-time for another company.
Actually, worked and self-funded your own business.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Any other questions?
So I want to ask about fair trade. As you mentioned, how did fair trade help you grow the sales, and how did people come to know about it? Fair trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how did failure help to grow the
Now, how
sales?
did fair trade? How
How
did
did,
how did fair trade help you?
oh yeah.
And how did people come to know about your fair trade
Yeah.
positioning?
Yeah, so I've made that a big part of the marketing and the marketing message. Amazon actually allows brands that are registered to do something called enhanced brand content, and what that means is in the area on the listing page, you can put your own marketing. So what I would do is I would share pictures of my staff holding signs, "We made your clothes." Basically, I wanted the customer, as soon as they visit my product page, to see that it's a fair trade brand. And the main way to do that is really just to give them visibility by sharing photos of your seamstresses, of your shop, sharing the message of how we operate and how it's different. And I do think that that matters to enough people, that it does help our sales, because there are not a lot of fair trade brands right now that are available on Amazon. So the fact that I am a fair trade brand that's available on Amazon, but also you can still buy a pair of pants for under $50, because a lot of fair trade brands that are out there, it's associated with high end. It's associated with you have to be rich to shop fair trade. So essentially, the you know differentiator that I'm running on is affordable fair trade.
Okay.
Now, I do think that's a Western thing. I know, in India, I don't know if people are buying fair trade, but I do think it's becoming over time more popular, and consumers are becoming more aware. Yeah.
So you did come up with very specific, unique value adds, right?
Mhm.
You are unique. You're not just a commodity product.
Right.
And
Right.
okay, great. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah.
Uh, you said that you operated out of Amazon. So, what was the incentive to make your own platform or to invest in your own infrastructure for your site? Your
Website, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, and to the extent that it's helpful, a lot of people sell clothing. So to have a clothing website, it's really difficult to get in the face of consumers. It's much easier to get in the face of consumers on Amazon. But after I had the company for a couple of years and I had success on Amazon, and after Amazon increased their fees, I got really angry, as you do, and I started to spend a lot of money trying to get more sales on my website, because I thought, no, I have this great brand. I want to own my customers. I want to have more access to my customers, because essentially Amazon keeps them from you. So, I tried a lot of different initiatives for that. I tried Facebook ads, I tried Google ads, I tried a website redo, I finagled my SEO. And the sales increased some, but I essentially reached the point where I accepted, okay, I accept that a majority of my sales are on Amazon, because I talk to a lot of my friends in America, and it's just how people prefer to shop. Usually, if someone buys on my site, it's because they don't have Amazon Prime, or it's because if they spend over a certain amount, they get free shipping. And so it's cheaper on my site if they spend over a certain amount. So I find, pretty consistently when I get sales on my site, it's either outside of the US, or because of their discount code, or because of the free shipping, it was cheaper for them. So, I'm spending less money on my website now, just because it wasn't as cost effective. It was far more cost effective for me to increase my Amazon pay per click than it was for me to try to get sales on my website with social media ads. Yeah.
So you moved your digital marketing to Amazon.
I mean, the marketing is there. The marketing is, we have, an Instagram, a Facebook, the marketing is there, but where I get the most bang for my advertising dollar is definitely on Amazon. Yeah.
Oh, so you actually have pay-per-click on, you put ads on Amazon pay-per-click.
Yeah, on Amazon, you can run ads. I think I only spend about 10 US dollars a day on my ads. It really depends on the size of your company, how much you want to spend. But it's a really convenient tool. Anyone can learn it. My background is not in advertising or pay per click, but I was able to learn Amazon PPC really easily.
Hmm.
And it's they give you something called an ACOS, which is basically the cost for acquiring the sale. And as long as you can keep that under 20%, then you have a really good ad. So I've been using that since the beginning, and I find that is the best way to advertise over trying to advertise with Google Ads to my own website. Now that's also because I'm a clothing brand. So other products that are more niche, like I have a friend who sells trampolines, and he sells a lot of trampolines from his website. But but that's a much smaller market. So it's easier for him to compete for SEO and ads. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes. So, what was the major challenge in establishing your own company in another different country or a place? What was the major challenge?
Establishing it in Thailand, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. In some ways, it was easier because if I had started a Made in America brand, I know that the cost would have been probably more than I could have invested on my own. And also I would have had to sell for a much higher rate. And I have a friend, a very good friend in Los Angeles, who did a Made in America brand, and essentially, even with two business partners who were very seasoned, failed because it's just hard to enter into clothing with high priced items. So I know that in one sense, I couldn't have done it without Thailand. But in the other sense, of course, it's a huge cultural divide. And just understanding Thai culture, understanding the way that my seamstresses think and feel, especially my business partner, and ensuring her happiness, that's such a big part of my job. Because, if my business partner is not fully happy with the work that we're doing, then I don't have a business. So that's such a crucial part. And for me, essentially, and I think I wrote about this in my blog post, I'm essentially married to Thailand as long as I have this business. I think initially I thought that I could live there for a few years and move back home or move back to Europe, but really I can't, because it's such an important part of Thai culture that you maintain and have that relationship to have a sense of trust. And so, I haven't even told Raj, but I'm moving back to Thailand in a couple of months, just because it's so fundamental to the business. So I guess that's probably the biggest challenge, but there are worse places to live than Chiang Mai.
Yeah.
So,
Second favorite place after California. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Anything else?
What is the average profit margin you operate on?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the product. Some of my, I would say for shirts and tops, because it's more competitive, I might have a 25% profit margin, but for pants, I have a 30 to 35% profit margin. Yeah.
This is after deducting all the Amazon expenses, or is it? Amazon
Yes,
takes like 15-20% shipping and all that.
That's after deducting shipping and their fees. It's not deducting what I spend on ads.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The product is basically unique, difficult to copy, and more on the quality. So as number will increase, means the required number production needs to be increased. So how do you plan to increase this production?
Yeah.
As time?
Yeah. That's the biggest challenge with running a fair trade factory. That is the biggest challenge, because in Chiang Mai, it's not a big enough city where we could double our workforce overnight. So essentially, I'm not able to double my sales overnight. But I also I think it's a boutique brand, you know, and the nice thing about having a boutique brand is you can focus on the quality and you can increase the price. So, you know, that is this is a point that I've often got to with my business, because if I wanted to double it overnight, I would essentially be taking it off the fair trade market, and that's not something I want to do. So our growth is very slow. Our growth is very slow and steady for this business type. Yeah.
Okay.
But it also keeps me from getting really stressed out. So I like that.
Yes.
Mhm.
Hi, Asha. So as I understand, in a fashion industry or in the clothing industry, it's generally the sales are generally dependent on the brand identity. So as a new entrant, how did you make sure that your product is differentiated? And I have a second question, like you mentioned that your bread and butter were pants. So what is the ideal strategy to have in a clothing industry? To have multiple products, or we should have a cap on the number of products we should have in the clothing industry?
Yeah. Here's what I would recommend if you were doing it. I would recommend that you come up with 10 products. Maybe they're pants, maybe they're dresses, whatever they are. I recommend you come up with 10 different ones and you launch them all at the same time. Because when you do that, you're essentially testing. And, you know, this is the advantage of working with a small factory over working with a big factory, because you can have an order of maybe 20 units. So you could start, if you're doing small, medium, and large, you could start with 5 on each size, right? So you can essentially have these products side by side, and the ones that don't succeed, you drop them. You keep the ones that do succeed. Another thing that's important for Amazon is you need reviews. So once you launch a product, you have to get those first reviews. And this is my little secret for that. You call up your friends, you ask them if they want to try out a new product, you send them the money, and you let them buy it. You let them buy it on Amazon. For it to be a verified review, they have to purchase it themselves and leave the review. So every time I launch a new product, I give it away to 5 or 10 friends to get those first 5 or 10 reviews. After you have 5 or 10 reviews, you can run ads for it, and then the ads will be more effective. Yeah.
So what is the difference of your profit margin on Amazon and on your website?
Well, because I use Amazon FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon, the difference is not even that much. Because when the customer, if the customer's in America and I send it to them in America, I'm sending it from the Amazon warehouse. So I'm only making a few extra dollars on my website that I didn't have to pay Amazon. But now if you were sending it yourself, of course, you could make a much higher profit margin. The thing is, I think it tends to be easier having Amazon handle all of it than hiring essentially a warehouse that would do it for you, or an individual that would do it for you.
Amazon's a pretty efficient e-commerce company.
That's it. It's very difficult to compete with. It is.
For any seller, actually. Quite a range of sellers.
Yeah. I'm launching in Europe next week, actually.
On Amazon? Yeah. On Amazon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Amazon UK and Amazon Germany. Yeah.
So I have a question. If Amazon goes down suddenly, so how will you manage your business?
Yeah. Then I'll liquidate and I'll write a book, huh? Maybe Ron will hire me.
Oh, God. Well, opportunity to start a new platform. Okay.
No, but that's also something I feel strongly about. Like, if you fail at any point, it's just failure. You're not gonna die. You know, nothing's gonna be taken away from you, and it's just failure. Then you find the next thing. Yeah.
You think there's lots of different products besides? I mean, you found a nice niche for yourself, and you've got kind of unique position, etc. Now.
Yeah.
But you feel there's lots and lots of opportunity to sell all kinds of products and niches, right? I mean, you've seen lots of friends now doing.
you know, a lot of people want to make a quick buck on Amazon, and I think that's where you go wrong. If you think that you can have a business where you just buy, list it, resell, and you can work 20 minutes a day, I think that's a bit delusional, you know, because I've had this business for 4 years, and yeah, there have been times where it's less work, but the business is only successful as what I put into it. You know, so if I'm not actively tweaking our campaigns and our marketing, if I'm not actively involved with the seamstresses and what we're doing, if I'm not really hands-on, then the sales do go down, and it's very visible actually. So, you know, I think that there are a lot of opportunities, but I think what people have to understand is it's work. It's all work. There's no quick get rich, you know. You have to do the research, you have to find the right product, you have to have it made in a way that's high quality, you have to ensure that you can compete with what's already out there, and you have to have some safety net in the sense that it's not easily copied. And beyond that, you need a portfolio. And I do have friends that essentially, actually there's a really nice couple from Canada that I know. They essentially have a portfolio of products, and so recently one of their products got overshadowed by a competitor. And so they have to accept the fact that they're no longer making money on that home goods product, and they're focusing more on their other products. So it's kind of like investing in the stock market, right? You just need you need to be a bit diversified nowadays for it to really be safe. Yeah.
Okay.
Ma'am, a follow-up question. How do you keep up with the trends in the market? So since fashion is such a big industry,
Yeah.
every month the trend changes, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how is it that
I hire people who are younger than me, and I ask them what's cool. Yeah, I think that's important.
You got to know your market.
Yeah.
Another question. Do you think it's worth it to spend your money on education after your bachelor's if you want to do a startup anyways?
That's a tough question. Yeah. I think you need mentors. Whether or not you have an education, you need mentors. I did go to university and I did get my MBA, but I would say probably the single greatest thing that happened is I got a job at Thai, and I met all of these entrepreneurs, male and female, who were doing so many great things. And a few of them just really liked me and took me under their wing and helped me and gave me great advice and gave me great work experience. So I think that you should always look for mentors. You should always look for older people that are experienced that you can learn from, whether you're in university or not. And sometimes university makes it easier to do that. Yeah.
Okay. If you take the connections you got from your university aside, did the education really help you in your business, in your degree?
The connections that I had in my university did not help me, but I did not go to a brand name university. Had I gone to a Berkeley or a Stanford, then yes, it would have helped me. But if you go to a university that's not a brand name, that's not highly recognized, it will not help you. That was my experience. Yeah.
Ma'am, in your article, you have said that we should not expect developing countries to operate at the same level of ethics.
Yeah.
So, what do you mean by that?
You guys are in India, so you have, I'm sure, a different perspective than I do. But one of the things that shocks me about Thailand is that some factories will say they're a fair trade factory to the potential buyer, but in reality, behind their scenes, they're not fair trade. And I think that's something that happens a lot. For an example, I have a friend who works for the government in Thailand for economic development and, setting up jobs for women who make things like purses and bags and accessories. And she said that there is actually a company that claims to sell Thai silk. Thai silk is very expensive, very sought after. And this company claims that their Thai silk is produced in Chiang Mai, and she went to visit their factory and found out not only is it not produced there, but they're buying it from China. And then And then they are telling the people who buy it from them that it's made in Thailand and fair trade. So that's, to me, the ethical gap, because you couldn't get, it would be much harder to get away with that in America. It would be much harder to make that sort of claim and get away with it. I'm not saying you couldn't do it, but the attitude in Thailand is much more laxed. So you have people that are saying, oh yeah, we take care of our employees, they don't work overtime. But then the minute you leave the door, the employees are working nights, or they're working weekends, or they're underpaid. And so, you know, as a Westerner working in this industry, I've seen it happen a lot, and it really makes me sad. And, you know, to my girlfriends that say, hey, can I just kind of blindly order from a factory in Thailand? I say, you can, but if you do that, you could be part of the problem and not part of the solution, because I just think it's really hurting women and girls in developing countries, this fast fashion market that's so demanding, and it's really having an impact on the lives of these women. Yeah.
So Amanda,
Yeah.
because as you did not have any background in fashion, how did you figure out that there was a need for this kind of traditional clothing?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. When I was in the 5th grade, so that means when I was 9 years old, our school teacher asked everyone what they wanted to be when they grew up, and I wanted to be a fashion designer.
Oh.
So I've always loved fashion. I've always been a bit artistic. So I wouldn't say that I had no background in it, but essentially what I discovered was sales and marketing are more important for a successful business than fashion design, because if you're good at sales and marketing, you can hire a designer, you know, but if you're just a designer, starting a business on your own is very difficult. Yeah.
I have a question. You said that 1 out of the 10 return clothes can't be sold again. So instead of that, you said you send them to your mother's home. So instead, can you resell them with an extra discount, or you can charge the customer who?
Yeah, it's very difficult at that point, because, you know, sometimes they're slightly damaged. Maybe they have like a stain on them. Sometimes people return a completely different product. It's not even my product. And, you know, so when my mom gets it, she actually looks at each item. She's retired, you know, so she looks at each item and decides which ones are still good. And then we sell it on eBay, we sell it at local markets, or we donate it. We find, you know, a place for it, essentially. So I think at that, and this is very typical in clothing, you know, that there's just a certain percentage of it that's going to go through that funnel. Yeah. Yeah.
Ma'am, as we know, like as the market grows, there is a need for personalization, and for that we need to segment the market into different categories so that we provide the relevant information or the product or the service that we are to the relevant group. So on what basis did you divide your market? Like what segmentations of the market did you do for this industry?
No, I'm not sure I follow you.
Ma'am, so, like based on the geographic locations or on the basis of the interest or the basis of the gender, you segment the market. So on what basis did you decide?
Yeah, so definitely I focus on sort of there's people who shop bohemian or hippie style clothing. Those are my market. They tend to be like in the yoga market, in the sustainability. So essentially looking at those keywords, looking at those search terms, and then targeting those individuals. Yeah.
Ma'am, how to deal with the uncertainties in business? Like, it's not like job that we have to do the same thing every day. One person had to do many tasks. So how do you do that?
Yeah, that's true. You know, in the beginning, I did everything online on my own. And that's probably, you know, when Raj, when you asked me, did I ever want to give up? I think I wanted to give up when I felt like I had more than I could do on my own, but I couldn't quite afford to hire someone yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, but once you reach a certain, once you reach enough profits and you can hire someone, then I started to hire people for administrative work. I hired people for different marketing tasks. But some things I still do on my own. And I think, like I mentioned before, I still do my Amazon advertising, my PPC. I attempted to hire a firm to do that, but they didn't understand my market well enough, and I was paying them a lot of money, and I was explaining to them what to do. And so I don't know, like, it's still something where I would like to be able to have someone else handle that. I think everyone's dream when you have a business is that you can have someone run it for you. But I guess it's just part of the process. You know, there are some things that you can hand off, and there are some things that aren't as easily handed off. Yeah. But it is a new job every day. New things come up every day. So that does keep it challenging and different and exciting. Yeah.
Ma'am, I had a doubt. Like, as you had told that while you were starting your business, instead of choosing the Kickstarter approach, you had chosen to sell in in small amounts first, maybe like 20 pans, and then you went to 100. So like, it's understandable. Like for 20 pans, you might have invested your own money, but like for having for selling 100 or 1,000 pans, so like how difficult was it for you to get investment from maybe some foreign country? So,
if investment by foreign country, you mean my mom and dad? No, but really, I like I was saying, I was still working in marketing. I had been working in the Silicon Valley. I'd saved about 15,000 of my own money, and I kept a job. I kept a job 20 hours per week. And on top of that, I was living in Chiang Mai. So I was earning a Western part-time salary and living in Thailand. So all those things, essentially my business could be making no money and I was still sustaining myself, you know? And that's why it took a long time. That's why it took that 2 years really to break even, because essentially those first 100 pants that you sell, it's not really a huge profit, because when you start selling, you want to keep the price low enough that people start to buy it. Once people start to buy it, you can slowly increase the price. But you've got to start low so that it gets visibility, in sales. Once you're on the first page, then you can start to, increase your prices. So that was kind of the initial phases. Yeah.
Ma'am, what are your future plans to scale up your business?
Yeah, so we're launching in Amazon Europe next week, which is really exciting. And also, now that we're incorporated in Thailand, we're going to start selling at some of the markets in Chiang Mai. And I'm considering opening a store in Chiang Mai.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And will you be adding new products?
Oh, I'm always adding new products. Always. Yeah. Yeah, we usually, in the winter time, we plan for spring. So when I go to Chiang Mai in October, November. Oh, and also, one of you asked about how much do you research it before you sell it. One of the important things with women's fashion is that you have women try it on, wear it, test it before you start to make a lot of it. So whenever I'm in Chiang Mai, I usually find about 5 different Western women with different body types, and I let them test it, wear it around, wash it, and give me their feedback. I do that before I produce it and send it to Amazon.
These are Western women in Chiang Mai, or Western women?
Oh, lots. Yeah.
Oh, in Chiang Mai itself.
Yeah, yeah, there are lots of Westerners.
So you've got good test marketing happening right there, where you get very thorough feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. I wanted to ask what all job profiles did you do at the beginning? Like, when was the first time you hired someone? After how much time?
Because the first few years, the only people I hired was seamstresses, because.
So was your partner a seamstress?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she just matured and grew up to become a.
She had been hired. She's about 10 years older than me, and she had been managing seamstresses before.
I see. Okay.
So she knew how to manage other seamstresses.
But you did click with her. Okay.
But she's not an online marketing person, So all of the online stuff was my stuff, and all of the workshop and seamstresses was her stuff. But we worked really closely together. Those initial stages, I met with the seamstresses before we hired them. A lot of them are from the same mountain culture, and so it's very much like a family brand in a way now. Yeah. I'm sorry, what was the question? I forgot.
No, who was the first person you hired, and how did?
Yeah. Okay. My first hire was a virtual assistant based in the Philippines. I chose the Philippines because people in the Philippines speak perfect English with an American accent. And so I needed a customer service person first. I needed someone who could answer customer emails. I needed someone who could fulfill orders. And she is also someone who understands Amazon well enough that she can add the listings, manage the inventory. So the first person I hired was administrative. And honestly, I couldn't, I'm so lucky with Roxanne. She's just such a great
And you
employee.
still got that same employee with you right now.
Huh?
She still works with you.
She still works with me. Yeah. Well, her cousin worked. This is funny. Her cousin worked for me. And her cousin said, you know, I'm going to have to take an accounting job. I need to work full time, but can I recommend Roxanne to you? And I'll teach her. And I thought, okay, perfect.
Okay.
And, you know, this is another thing where I think it's important to always praise your employees, tell them how much they're appreciated, give them raises, give them new things to do that challenge them. Because really, like, having a good team just makes all the difference in the business.
Now, you told me you had somebody in Bangladesh too, right?
And I have a bookkeeper, yeah. But he hasn't done a great job, and he's my only male employee, so.
Oh, gosh. Oh, no.
Look out.
But you did some marketing too with the Bangladeshi person.
No, I have a photo editor there.
A photo editor, yeah.
Yeah, I have a photo editor there. I hired an Austrian girl for my marketing. She's my first marketing hire, and she's here in Lisbon. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
She's very good. Yeah, very good with like the brand ambassadors and the social media. Yeah, and younger and gets it more than I do.
You're a truly global one-person company. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Any more questions, guys?
Yes. Ma'am, you said that you're going to expand your business in Europe. So on what parameters do you choose in which country you should expand your business? Like it's based on fashion trend or something else?
Yeah, it's based on Amazon. So the best Amazon markets are the UK and Germany right now. So those are the markets that I'll start with. I do actually get quite a few sales from Spain, and on my website, but we ship those directly from Thailand. At some point, I may look into selling more direct in Spain. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. So as you mentioned, you are operating in more than one country. So do you find any difficulties in imports and exports of your products or fabric, etc. between countries?
I'm so excited to see a girl in the classroom that I completely lost track of your question. What, can you repeat that again? Sorry.
Ma'am, as you mentioned, you are operating in multiple countries. So do you find any difficulties in imports and exports of the products and fabrics between the countries?
Yeah, you know, one challenge I have is we order some of our fabric from India, and it can be really inconsistent, the delivery. You know, sometimes when we order by the thousands of yards. So we'll order 2,000 or 3,000 yards of fabric, and we try to order it so that we have more before we run out of a particular pant. But as you know, in India, there can be monsoons, there can be problems with the customs, you know, and so sometimes it's really difficult for us to get the timing right with the orders. That can be a real challenge. Yeah. But in Thailand, a lot of the fabric is made in Thailand, and we buy it right where we manufacture it, and that makes it much easier. Another thing you have to think about with clothing is the weight, because for shipping you pay more for what weighs more. So, you know, if you're selling clothing that is heavier, you have to be able to sell it for a higher cost. Yeah.
You said you put the products in the Amazon. So what is the difference in the market when you go to other websites like Snapdeal, Myntra, Walmart, eBay, like that?
Yeah, I looked into Walmart. Walmart has some very strict rules about how you can sell. For example, if they see that your product is listed cheaper anywhere than Walmart, they will ban you, which I thought was really inflexible. And eBay, I tried selling on eBay, but for the amount of time it took, it wasn't worth it. And actually what happens with eBay is people will sell my clothing there secondhand anyway. So I don't really find that I need to be on eBay. But I am on Etsy because it's a fair trade brand, and I think Etsy shoppers tend to be your more what's the word? More focused on ethical fashion, more focused on the art and craft of it. So Etsy has been a good marketplace for me. Yeah.
Ma'am,
Yes.
after how much time period do you get to know that your product is going to be profitable, or you have to cut off your product?
I'm sorry. After how much time? What?
After how much time period do you get to know that your product is going to be profitable or not?
Yeah. I think it takes a couple of months. So recently, I launched a new style of pant, and I got the reviews, and I turned on the ads. And if the ad is running for 1 month and it's performing badly, even with the reviews, that's usually enough of an indication for me to know that that product is just not a good product. Yeah. But in general with Amazon, the longer that your product is for sale and the more that it gets reviewed, then the stronger it becomes. So you do have to kind of wait it out.
Yeah. Can the girl come back, because her project idea was handicrafts made by tribal people in India.
Oh, cool.
And I think Amazon, of course, would be would probably be the right platform to get this out.
Yeah, definitely.
So, do you have any? Why don't you tell Amanda about your project idea and see what opinion she's got about it? Because you've got an expert on the other side.
Yes, ma'am, I want to make an online portal for gift items. Those gift items are made of recycled paper or plastics. I mean, I have some ideas, creative ideas to make gift items, but I don't know how to initiate this.
Raj, why don't you connect us? Maybe that's easier.
What did you say, Amanda?
Why don't you connect us and I can have a conversation with
Okay,
her?
so I will give her your email address and
Sure.
and WhatsApp number, and then she can talk to you directly.
Yeah, no problem.
She's kind of going to lead the teams, and she came up with the idea of about 5 people, and basically 4 months, and it would be great to see basically,
I have seen companies doing this. There's a lot of fair trade companies out there that are, especially when they do direct from, like local villagers that have a particular style of art or a particular craft that they do. It can be really popular, but yeah, I can send her the links to a few companies that I've seen doing it that seem like they're doing a good job with it, but it's really hard to know what their sales volume is. Also, do you remember Joe? Joe?
Yes, yeah.
He moved into this bamboo leather.
Joe was the person that had those bamboo sunglasses, right?
Yeah, but he got out of the sunglasses because too many people copied it.
Okay.
And there's something called bamboo leather. So basically it's like leather but made of bamboo. Okay. And that's made in Thailand. And I think he's done much better with that than he was doing with the sunglasses. But yeah, I don't see any reason why you could not launch something like that on Amazon, to be honest.
Yeah, I think bamboo textiles has taken off in some places. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. So if she's interested in launching it on Amazon, that's something I can help with. Beyond that, maybe I can think of other people she can talk to. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much, Amanda. I think we have taken the full hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes. But I think, yes.
Sorry, one more question.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Since you are on profits, did any big corporate companies ever tried to collaborate with you, or did they call you, or if not, are you looking to collaborate with any other bigger brands?
Yeah, that hasn't happened yet, but that wouldn't be a bad thing actually. Yeah, I think that's the dream of boutique brands, is to get bought up by a department store or something of that nature. That could be cool. Actually, this month I'm interviewing and I'm looking for a business strategist. I'm going to hire someone essentially that's going to help me strategize my exit. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
That also becomes important at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Raj. This was
Great.
fun.
It's awesome. Appreciate it. Yeah.
No problem. Talk to you soon.
Yes.
Bye.
I'm in Chiang Mai now. Because I was thinking of going back, so. Okay. I think we got a very good overview here.